So you've all been given 4 cards that are on your chair. All I want you to do is just put them into an order. So the top one should be the one that you most like, the bottom one should be the one that you least like, and then try and work out which ones are 2 and which ones are 3. Have you done yours? I'd already sussed you out, but I'll show you that in a minute and I'll explain why. I'll explain why, it's all good. And you like things done in a nice order and structured and stuff, that's all good. Okay, now there's no right or wrong with the order that you do, and it doesn't matter, it's all fine. Now, people are dead predictable if we learn what their predictabilities are. So people are a little bit weird, aren't they? Have you noticed that some people are proper strange? But predictably strange, which is something we can work with. All right, chaps? Yeah, no problem. You've got some cards here. All I want you to do first of all is put them into an order. The one you most like, put on the top. The one you least like, put on the bottom, please. That'll be muchio appreciatio. So what I'm going to be talking about is what these different people prioritise. So I'm going to classify it, you can see with the 4 cards we've got, into 4 different personality types. This has been getting done since the Greek times, about 2,000 years ago. This particular version that I'm going to talk you through is a thing called My Everything Disc. And everyone's now coming from the other session just to make me say everything again, which is just a bonus. Hello, you've got 4 cards on your chair. If you can put them into an order for me, the one that you most like, put on the top, the one that you least like, put on the bottom, and that will give me a little bit of an understanding of where you are. Okay, so the 5 areas that I'm going to talk about is the priorities that people have, what motivates them, what fears they have, okay, what noticeable traits you'll have, and also the limitations that these people have, so we know what to work with in terms of your staff. Now, I want to do a little thing because I just want to prove how quite often we end up making assumptions, right? So I'm going to make an assumption now. My assumption now is this. I'm going to put a picture on the screen and my assumption is you're all going to be able to see the same thing. That's a fair assumption to make, isn't it? You're all looking at the same thing, so you should be able to see the same thing. Is that okay? So let's see if any of you are predictable. Right, okay. We have a picture. Can anyone see, put your hand up if you can see an old lady. Okay, why is everyone's hand not up? Baffling. Okay, that's good. Can anyone see a young lady that seems to be looking that way? Okay, so why is everyone's hand not up? Okay, so in terms of assumptions, it's a pretty easy assumption to make that everyone should be able to see the same thing, but you couldn't. Sometimes in this bit you get the universal head tilt, the way people do that to see, so they can see it a little bit clearer. Has anyone seen this before? This is the future king. Has anyone ever seen him in this light? Can anyone tell me what he's doing? No, he was counting. But it's amazing how sometimes when you look at something from a different angle, you might see something slightly differently. Okay? But we do jump to assumptions and we do start to make things. I won't bother with the live comments. But I am going to ask you to do this. I'm going to ask you to do the easiest task ever. So in a second, I'm going to put some words in that box. All I want you to do is read it to yourself and count how many F's. F for Freddy or for off, whatever you want, right? So all I'm looking for, I'm going to put it in there. You've got 15 seconds. And my assumption is that you lot can count F's. So as soon as I've done that, anyone who's got the voter can vote. Anyone else, I'll just ask you the question. Okay, so there we go. 15 seconds. I won't ignore you. Five seconds left. Amazing. Okay, so anyone who's got the voter on who got here early enough might have a chance to do that. Put your hand up if you got 2. 3. Okay, 4. 5. Is anyone else confused as to why we've all got different numbers that you saw? Is that a bit weird for anyone? We've got 2 people who voted. Let's see what they voted. Apparently there's either 3 or 5. Now, I thought you lot would be able to count F's. What an assumption that is to make. Look, do you want to have another go? I'll try and make it a little tiny bit easier for you. Is that easier for any of you? So sometimes when we ask our staff to do stuff, right, we think we've given them an easy instruction. I thought counting F's was quite easy, but you were a little bit shite at it, if I'm being honest, but that's fine. I'm all right with that. We can move on. That's fine. So humans are dead predictable. So what I'm going to try and teach you now is how and where that comes from and how we're going to use this sort of disc side of things. DISC stands for dominant, influential, steady and compliance, which are the cards that you've got in front of you. Now, out of all the things I've ever learned, this is the one I've used the most. So did this help me fly through LA Fitness and become the national management trainer? Yeah. Did it help me when I do troubleshooting when I was at Fitness First? Yeah. Did it when I work with about 120 odd councils and trusts at the minute. Does it help me when I work with them? Of course it does, right? Because years and years ago I got taught something by my dad, and it was to treat people how you like to be treated. And he was wrong, right? You've got to treat people how they like to be treated. And this is a very, very simple way of decoding or trying to understand people in general. So there's no right or wrong, there's no good or bad. Has anyone here ever done something and then someone else does it but a totally different way, and you think, why would you do it that way? Right? Well, that's because there's more than one way of skinning a cat, but we know our own thought process, we don't know someone else's. The next time you think you know what someone's thinking, just remember they probably can't even count F's like you lot, right? There's a high likelihood that that's the case. So there's no best style, but we'll always think our style's the best. We all have strengths and limits. You go to an interview and someone says, what's your strengths? I say I'm quite enthusiastic. And then they ask you for what your weakness is, and you say, I haven't got one, and they think, cocky bastard, right? Or I say sometimes I get a little bit over enthusiastic, because sometimes if we overuse a strength, then that can become a weakness for us as well, or a blind spot. Everyone's a little bit of all four of them. And most people tend to have a preferred style when you did this. So when I've asked you to put cards at the top or the top and the bottom ones are normally easy, but working out which one's 2 and 3 is a little tiny bit harder. So, dominant, influential, steady and compliance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to whistle stop you through how these work. So, dominant, these are about get it done. Has anyone here got a D at the top, the green one? Yeah? So we've got a couple of people in here with Ds. Now when I'm talking about this, I'm not saying that this is you. I am just talking about some behaviours that these people show, right? So I'm not saying it's you as an individual, I'm just saying these are behaviours that some people show when we do this. So, what are they motivated by? Results. The fastest, the quickest, the best, okay? These people want to be the best at every single thing they do, right? And results and getting them as quick as they can. Sometimes how they get the results doesn't always matter. So you might not have to follow a rule or stuff like that, but as long as we get the result, they also have a little tiny bit of wing ability built into them, these people, where they believe they can. And prepping's not always maybe needed per se. But now the biggest fear is losing control. Have you ever had one of these people in work who's, you get one of these dominant bosses, quite strong, knows exactly what he wants, doesn't really delegate stuff out, and when he does, he sort of goes, oh, you haven't done it fast enough or quick enough, I'll do it myself, bleed now. Am I the only one doing something around here? Right, so quite often you get these different sorts of behaviour types that start to kick in. But these really, really fear being taken advantage of by they're the only ones who are doing anything around here, and losing control of things. Okay, so they hate to lose control. It's why they don't normally delegate that well. Now, what motivates them is being centre of attention, power, authority, being in control, being able to stand out from the group. They might do this with hair, they might do it with tattoos, they might do it with clothing, might be a brand, it could be anything. But these people want to stand out from the crowd. They want to fight, they want to challenge, they want to sort of, again, how they win the fight's not a problem, but as long as they win it, that's the most important thing. But these people are going to challenge themselves, they're going to challenge you, and they're going to challenge everyone around them. And they love winning. They absolutely love winning. And again, at all costs, absolutely. What you will notice, they have a strong desire of understanding how good they are themselves. So quite often, if you've got a member of staff who's high in this, the difference between confidence and competence might be miles apart, but they'll believe they can do it, right? Because they have this inner belief, which is an amazing thing to have, that they absolutely and utterly think that they can go ahead and do it. I met someone the other week, they'd been in the organisation for about 4.5 months, the chief exec job came in, they were only a duty manager, and they were like, I reckon I could do that. This inner belief and this desire to think that's not a problem for me, I think I could do it, is a really, really strong benefit that they have. They love taking risks. What helps with this as well is these people are amazing at making decisions. They love making decisions and they love making them fast. Okay, so we've got to give them that opportunity, but don't think they're not going to go for gambles, right? They will definitely go for gambles, especially if it's going to give them a bigger reward or more results, because that's exactly how they tick. Oh, you're going to hear them. You're definitely going to hear. These are the ones that are going to railroad your meeting. They're going to chip in and have a little go, and you've got to hear them. Again, if you've got a member of staff like this, then it makes sense that we give them a slot in meetings, so then we can go, all right, you've got your chance in a minute, right? But these people want a chance to shine. They want a chance to show people just how good they are at what they do. Now, the limitations are they get a little bit frustrated with people, because no one can do it as fast or as good as them. One of the reasons why they really struggle to do delegation. Okay, so these people sometimes get really frustrated with others around them. So you might even just go out for a meal and someone's picking a meal they've had before and they'll be going, you had that last time, why you? So they're very direct and they don't mind telling people what they think. And sometimes they'll tell you what you think and you might take offence by it, and they'll just be going, well, I was just telling you how it is. If you don't like it, it's your fault. Right? When the reality is it's not. They should adapt and they should start to flex a little tiny bit. But one of the limitations is how frustrated they get and how quick that can happen. The fact that somehow it will end up coming back to them. I have a little bit of joke for anyone who's really high in this, and I hope we haven't got anyone too high in the room, but I call them two poos, because if you've had one, they've had two. Right? Without a shadow of a doubt, these two poos, they've been there before. If you go to Tenerife, they go to 11 Tenerife, all that type of stuff, right? They're all over it like a rash. But these people are very, very strong in knowing what they want and telling other people. And they don't always listen. So you might have one of these high up in an organisation and people have probably stopped telling them stuff. Right? And the reason being is because they don't listen. They just pile on because they already know. They've already done it before. They already don't need other people to make a decision. Do you have any people like this in any of your organisations? These will be the members, when you say you've got to sign in, and they just want to pile in, or they don't want to wait in a queue, or there's a waiting list for the class, well, can I just go to the top of it? It's these people. It's the ones who, when they join, they want to come in. If you get a fitness instructor who's high in this, he wants to beast people. He wants them coming out dripping with sweat, and thinks DOMS is a good laugh, where they can hear people so they can't come in for the next 3 weeks. So quite often, these are the types of people that we have in our organisation. We have all of them, but these people are very, very strong. So do we have some of them in your work? Okay. The next one, so this is the red, and this is the influence, and these are all about getting together. So these love social engagements. So quite often, I always joke, when I do training, when you find out there's going to be training the next day, what tends to happen is the D's are like, do we need to go? I've been here for ages, what are they going to teach me? Right? So it's quite hard. These people are like, oh, I wonder who's going to be there. Oh, it's going to be amazing. So these are always looking for the social aspect of absolutely everything they do. Now, these prioritise the social engagements. These are bouncy, bubbly, happy, optimistic people. These are the ones that go, morning, when you walk in, you're thinking, Jesus Christ, it's only 6 o'clock, but they're still happy and they're still sort of bouncing around, yeah? But these people are all about being accepted by the team. They want to be liked by people. And now they might act differently with different groups of people, but the reality behind it is what they do is they just want to be liked. Okay, they don't mean it, that's what happens to them. The biggest fear is being on their own. Okay, so being on their own means or not accepted by the group. So imagine you've got a new member of the team and they come in and they're having the dinner and they're sitting on their own. These people will go over and go, come on, and they'll bring them over to sit with everyone else, even if they don't want to come, right? Because the I would hate to be that person sitting on their own in the corner, right? So therefore we think everyone thinks like us, they don't. The next time you think everyone thinks like you, just remember they probably can't even count Fs, right? You have to remember that there's a big process going on here. So what are they motivated by? They're motivated by recognition. They want to thank you for doing the job, a bit more of a high five, don't like the email thing, they'd rather have it in person. Okay, so they'd like to be pulled up in front of the group and they want everyone to know how good they are at what they do. It's a huge factor. They love to get involved, so an idea needs to happen. The D goes, do it this way, because I've done it before and it worked, because I'm amazing. That was good, glasses full, wasn't it? Okay, the second one, these will be like, let's get the group together, let's have a collaboration, let's find out what most people think. So these are always looking for the consensus and trying to find out where the groups kick in. But they want everyone involved in the decisions. And they like to have a laugh, okay? So they like to sort of bounce little jokes off and keep it a little light-hearted and don't want it to be too serious. So I know already there's a few people in here who've got this trait. I'll tell you in a second how I know. These are positive. Like I said, glass half full, bouncy, bubbly, loads of ideas. God, these can talk. Jesus Christ. You put them in a room, they could literally talk the head off a bleeding hammer. Marina, is this anywhere near yours? I thought it may be, yeah. So the whole idea behind these people can talk, and do you know what they hate? Do you know what they hate? Silences. They go, "Bugger!" They just say stuff, it just comes out. And they don't even mean it. In their head, they're going, "Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that." Anyway, so they're off. They're like magpies or butterflies where they're just floating around and can't wait to get on with loads of different people. They're very, very creative, right? So if you stick these in a box and say, "I want you to do this," they'll have ideas. They want to use them. They're shite at following through on them. Like, let's work on that, right? So if you have a member of staff who's in this, they'll keep coming up with ideas, but they might not follow through and finish it off. So our job as managers or people who work with them is to go, right, which one? Which one of those ideas you're actually going to finish? And we help them finish it. And probably help them plan, because they don't really like plans either. Plans are shite, aren't they, for these? So the limitations, they love helping other people, but they hate asking for help. And they're a little bit disorganized. So you'll go to the desk and they'll say, "Can you go and get that piece of paper off my desk?" And you're at the desk going, "You know, stay to this." But they'll know exactly where it is because they have their own method. But no one else will understand it because it's just something they've created. But I'll explain people who love a proper system in a second. But these don't like asking for help. When I say the magpie, it's like, "Oh, shiny. Oh, new. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's good. New piece of kit. Amazing." So you'll write them a program, but they'll get bored dead quick. Or they'll want to try the new fad or the new trend, or they'll want to try and keep things involved. They get sidetracked by things. So these aren't really starter finishers. So they won't start a job and then complete it. You'll send them off to do a walk and they'll be like, "Oh, look at that." They'll find something else on the way. Okay. And like I said before, these think follow-throughs when you poo yourself, not when you actually complete a task, right? Because they don't actually like to complete stuff at any stage. Do you have any of these in your business? These bouncy bubblies, yeah? Okay, perfect. Steady, get along. So we've got a couple of these in the audience. These are all about helping and supporting other people. Now, I've got to talk a little bit quieter when I talk about these because these people are dead nice. They never shout at people. They just talk to them, right? They don't shout because that makes them feel bad, and they don't want to make anyone feel bad. The biggest fear is trying things that they might not have done before, so change. So if we're going to bring change in, you know when change comes in, and the D's are like, so the D's are like this, da-da-da-da, follow me, what are we doing? Dunno, just going to wing it, keep coming, yeah? The I's are like, I'm dead flexible, I'm all right, I'll help you, I'll do what I can. And these go, do we really need to change? Isn't it okay the way it is? Can't we just leave it then? Okay, so these will always question change. So we have to baby step it with them. It makes more sense. They love making other people comfortable. These are the ones who, "Do you want a cup of tea? Would you like some biscuits? What are you having for lunch? You're not eating the right stuff, how can I help you? Or you go home, I'll stay here," right? These are lovely, these people. Absolutely amazing at wanting everyone around them to be nice and comfortable. Their whole aim is about helping others. So imagine if there's a competition, the D wants to win no matter what. The I will win, but it's all about the team getting there and now they have the journey. These don't mind who wins as long as everyone's happy. And the D's start going, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" And they're like, "I'm not bothered about winning." "No, surely you are." "No, they're all right." These just want to make sure that everyone else around them is really happy in what they do. And it's always about bringing people together. These will end up being your shoulder to cry on in work because they'll listen. So imagine if I went to a D with a problem. Before I've even told him my problem, he's already told me that it's a piece of piss to fix. Next, move on. And I haven't even told him yet, right? I go to the I, and because they like speaking to other people, I tell them the problem, they go, "Oh, I know someone else that's got that." Next minute, I'm in a menage a trois that I don't want to be in, right? So they don't mean it, they just want to try and help, and that's the way they do it. But these will help by listening, and they won't spout it out to anyone because that might make you feel bad. You will notice these people have patience. They have loads of patience, right? They're not going to scream and shout. Even if they hated this session, they wouldn't get up and walk out, which is a bonus, yeah? So these people, and they're dead good at listening. You'll turn up at meetings and they'll be like, "They never said anything." It's because they were listening, right? How good's that? That's a great trait for them to have. The D's and the I's are very good at listening to themselves, but these are great at listening to other people, which is a really, really big strength. These are the superheroes. These are the ones who are always in work, don't give you any grief, just love doing what they do. They actually like patterns as well, so they like to do the same thing and they like to get comfortable with it. So again, that's a really important bit. Some people, you've got some staff who think they want a pat on the back for coming in work on time. They're like, "Morning, I'm on time." and you're like, and then they go and get a coffee and walk off, and you haven't not where they're meant to be. But these will be in the right place at the right time doing the job. And sometimes they'll probably stay over. They're quite easy to abuse if you're a really poor manager because they don't like saying, they won't have a go at you. So imagine I want to give the shit shifts out. Everyone must have shit shifts, right? So you give the shit shifts out. Have I sworn enough for that just so you've caught it, yeah? Cool. So you give them out. The D's they're gonna flip at you. They're gonna scream, they're gonna shout, they're gonna tell you. The I's are just gonna tell everyone else. These will probably just get on with it. It's a really poor management trait and you shouldn't do it, but it ends up happening if you're not very good at managing. The limitations are they can't say no. They really struggle to say no. They're just dead nice and they just want to please people. Normally to their own detriment. It's them that's going to end up feeling worse and running out of time, etc. Okay? They need a little bit more time to adapt, and sometimes they like to revert back to what they used to do. So you might buy some new software, but they'll go back to the paper that they used to love, because that's where their comfort zone is and that's what they like. So do you have any of these people? These lovely members who are just dead nice? They're a bit like time thieves as well. When you bump into one, it's like, oh, can't get away. Because again, they just like to sort of take your time off you. So we've got a few of them, and they just want to get along with people. Now, we've got the conscientious, right? So these want to get it right. These are about perfection. So their primary motive is about getting things right, okay? And ideally first time. Sometimes these might not even start a task just in case they might make a mistake, right? And that can cause a problem because you're not doing the things that you could or should be doing, right? And the D's are going, just try it, it's no problem. And these are like, oh no, I can't, it's not right. It's like, So we can start seeing where people start to have conflict between each other. The biggest fear is getting something wrong, which is the reason why sometimes they don't try stuff. In motivation, these are motivated by knowledge, by being experts, by understanding exactly what they do. These are the ones who want to know the figures, right? They want to know exactly what's going on. These will have KPIs coming out their ears, they'll have loads of meetings. They love a good meeting, these. Proper love a meeting and a plan. Yeah? They love good systems. They concentrate on the efficiency and the quality of things. So you'll say, we do something, yeah, but how do you do it? Every single time you work with any of these people, has anyone ever watched Friends? I know I'm an old school, but remember Monica? Monica's definitely got a bit of this in it. It's that the drive to make sure it's perfect and everything looks in the same way. So these people are motivated by using the brains, by making sure they can adapt and analyse things, and by using systems and process. What you will notice is this amazing ability to analyse things. So if you want to go and buy a new purchase for your gym, they've got a spec going on in their head before you know it. They'll have a spec sheet, they'll have a little thing, and these are amazing at making those decisions, okay? Their eye for detail is amazing. So like these are the ones when you walk around the club and they go, do you know there's only 3 drawing pins in that thing? And you're like, what? Or if it's not slightly on the right, it's not on the right angle. Oh, toilet roll the wrong way round. These people are hitting hernias straight off. Yeah? Some people will call these OCD. They will call themselves organised, right? Which totally makes sense. Why would you not want to be organised? But their eye for detail is amazing. And every time you ask them to do something, they need a how-to guide. So when you say, can you do something, that's not enough. They need to know exactly how, why, where, and when. And they love this one, but what if? And sometimes some people can think that these are really negative, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to get rid of the problem before it even starts, because then it's not going to be a problem and that makes it easier for them. Okay, the limitations is they beat themselves up. These massively beat themselves up. Okay, so it's really important that they just don't believe in themselves. Now, they could read something and know 98%, but they'll beat themselves up because they don't know that final 2. Now a D, imagine there's been like a HR update in your business, right? These will read it, right, for a start, that's good. The Ds will go to these and go, what was in that? These will tell them, and the Ds are now an authority on what's going on. And these are going, oh, I don't know it all, I've only read it 4 times. So it's amazing how these different people have different ways or flavours. If you want these to make a quick decision, you're probably asking the wrong person, right? I'm not saying, so in a long-term decision, definitely. But I've got a sister-in-law, we go out for a meal. We have to send the menu before we go. Because I'm telling you, you're going to have to wait for 4 hours for it to pick. Because she just can't help but going, oh, but I like that, and oh God, and she's constantly weighing things up and trying to analyse, and it's like, just pick a friggin' meal, I'm starving, yeah? So, and sometimes these people may hide behind rules. Okay, So do you have any of these in your business? Yeah? Bit of analysis paralysis. They love a little bit of that, don't they, where they go in deep. So let me try and bring it together a little tiny bit. So imagine this, right? First and foremost, I've got to go and do a full audit on the building. It's going to take me 2 hours to do it properly. A D can do it from a chair because they already know what's going on. Piece of piss. Next. It'll be signed off. Might not be thorough, but it'll be signed off. Okay, so we're covered. But it might not have got done as thorough as you'd like it. The I, well, I'm thinking 4.5 hours ago they left. Where are they? I've just walked into the changing room. There's an old fella flossing and he still hasn't put him off. He's chatting to him, no problems, without even blinking. He just got caught and got sidetracked. He didn't mean it. Okay? The steady, if they were going to do it, they'd do it because they're fine. They'll just crack on with it. The C will love it. They love a good audit. And they don't start something else until they're finished. Now, imagine this. I've got 4 cabinets. I've just been to IKEA and I've got 4 cabinets. Who starts first? I've got a D, an I, an S and a C. Who starts first? The D is screwing it in through the box. They haven't even opened it out, like that. The C is having a hernia. Because they've gone, I've got 3 of these, 2 of these. They're creating that picture that's in the manual, right? Because they're going, why would you start if you haven't got all the tools you need to do the job? And the D's going, well ahead. Look at the state of them. They get to the end, right? The D's got a bag of glue, 2 wooden dowels and 3 screws, and they go, it's all right, that'll do. We look over at the C, the desk is turned over, and every screw's getting an extra tighten to 2:45. Right? It's going to last longer than the building. So instantly we can see how these 2 different people do things totally different, but trying to do the same skill. The steady, if they can build a desk, they'll do it themselves. They won't make a hoo-ha out of it. And if not, because they're always helping, their friend or their uncle or someone will help them. The I, you'll go round, you'll be having a drink, and the next minute you'll be putting a cabinet together thinking, how the friggin' hell did that happen? It'll become a social event. And if they can't do it in there, it'll be on bloody Instagram or Pinterest, all that type of stuff, yeah? So they're constantly looking at different ways they can do stuff. So I want to build a team. I need 4 people in it. What happens if I have 4 Ds? Okay, no one wants to shit shifts. Everyone wants to be the best. I need someone who's going to push and drive us. I just can't have everyone doing the same, right? Because it'll be like the Wolf of Wall Street. It'll be quite aggressive. What happens if I have a team of I's, 4 I's? Oh, it's going to be like Partyville. It's going to be like someone comes in for a tour. Should we all go? Do. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, they're all going to have a laugh. It'll be funny. This Christmas party will be booked, but you might not have any members. But it doesn't matter. It'll be a laugh. What happens if I have 4 steadies? Oh, it'll be like Cuddlefest. We don't want budgets this year. Who needs them? Don't like them. Yeah, it'll be dead nice. It'll be dead cuddly, but not enough change and not enough things will happen. What will happen if I have 4 C's? Well, there's definitely going to be a plan, right? So first of all, we're going to sit down, we're going to write an agenda. Then we're going to test whether the agenda works. Then we're going to run it in real life, and then we're going to build a plan based on the Jesus Christ. So we might not have spoke to people, but there'll be loads of planning. Now, I need a plan, and I need someone who's going to care. I need all these different aspects. I just can't have too many of one. So there's a reason why 75% of the FTSE 500 use this type of process when they're onboarding people. Because if I end up with impact, you've got these different customers coming in. So imagine this, right? Imagine I have a dominant fitness instructor and I have a member who's compliant. So this person wants to know all the qualifications, what happens in the warm-up, how long do I warm up for, and this person just wants to go and beast him and get him in there. Right, so again, there's a huge conflict between the 2 and what they're looking for, and vice versa. This one's going, right, you need to fill out the medical form, and this fella's going, I want to go and get a hernia, please, mate, can I get in? Yeah? So again, once we start breaking it down, it starts to make more sense. Class instructors, I'll move on from that one. Complaints, I'll finish off with complaints. How would a D complain? How do you reckon a D would complain? It's going to be loud, it's going to be in your face, and you're going to know about it without a shadow of a doubt. And let's say, for instance, something's happened wrong, they will go and tell you right at reception, and they don't mind. So when you go on customer service calls and say, can you take them away from the environment? Not with these. Not while I've got a hole in my bum. They're not having it. These want to make a biggest impact as possible. If you feel bad, it's your fault because you shouldn't have given them shite service. Right? So the only way to deal with these is about letting them explain it. How would they have done it? They'll tell you, because they've got 2 poos, right? It's all over them. These will know exactly how it's done, and they will know the standard this should have been done at. So get them talking about themselves, and we're in with a shout. Okay, how does a steady complain? If they complain. How does steady complain? They'd probably apologise for complaining. oh, look, I'm sorry, I know it's not your fault, oh, I'm sorry, I know you're busy. So they'll end up, it's such a lovely complaint that we sometimes don't even deal with it. We definitely deal with the arsehole who shouted at us and screamed at us and made us feel bad, but this one we might not do. But they're all just as important as each other. Okay, the I, they're always a little bit jokey, so it'd be like penguins in the pool this morning. I had one fella once come to me and he said, do us a favour, can you whack the heating on in the changing room because 3 people have just hung the coat on my nipples on the way through, right? And it was like, again, you see the receptionist going, but then they don't log it, and then we don't follow it up, and then that person goes and tells everyone that he tried to tell them and no one listened. Okay, who else haven't it done? C, how would the C's complain? How would a C complain, do you think? It'll be in writing. Right? If they said at 12:15, Trevor wasn't in the gym, don't try and wing it. They've probably got proof, they've got evidence, they've got everything they need. They'll have bullet points or numbers. They love a good bullet point and number, right? And if you want to wind them up, do this. Start on number 2. Freaks them out. They don't get it. Yeah? Because in their head, they're going, he hasn't gone through number 1 yet. He hasn't gone through number 1 yet. And you're now on point 4, and they're going, he hasn't gone through number 1 yet. Right? So never do that, by the way, because they've already told you the order that they want to do it. So I would imagine we've got, let's say, pool scum lines dirty or something. I'd sit down and say, right, give me the information you've got. They'd give me it and I'd say, right, we're going to fix it, but then what we're going to do, every Monday we're going to do a length of the pool. And that way this will never happen again. You just helped us create a system, thank you. Okay, so that was a whistle-stop tour into DISC and trying to understand your staff. If anyone wants any more information, there's a little barcode thingy. The bottom one is my contact details. Just send me an email and I'll ping you anything you want. I'll give you these cards so you can do it for free. There's another sheet that you can use that you can do this for free on your staff as well if you want. But trust me, this is the best thing I've ever done in any business that I've ever been in terms of trying to understand people and getting the best from them. Hopefully you've enjoyed the session, and that's probably the right time, is it? Have I done the right time? Perfect, thank you.